Mic checker. Chicka, chicka, chicka. It's not some, baby. Yeah, one time, baby. What? For your mind, baby. Yeah, we gon' shine, baby. And what we do, we gon' grind, baby. Yeah. What? And this is another episode, sold of Swingers After Dark. And this is your host, Nason, baby. Here we go. What's good, family? You know, I want to talk about two dynamics. I want to talk about relationships and being single. How a relationship is like a salary, a weekly or bi-weekly salary, while living single is like making money off commissions. You dig? Now, as a single male, I'm currently single, just fresh out of a relationship. Thank God. But anyway, you know, as a single male, you know, it's like you have to get in where you fit in. You know, what do I mean by that? You know, you're gonna have some lonely nights. I ain't gonna front. You're gonna have some lonely nights because there's no consistency. You know, your situationship or your fuck buddy or your booty call, they might not be available at that time. They may not be around. They may not have the time. Then you got to deal with different personalities. You have to figure out if you really want to deal with this chick, even if she is free. And it's like going through the motions. You know, you really don't know what you're getting because it's just a nut. You feel me? It's just sex. You know, you're not coming home from a hard day's work. You know, you're not getting pampered. You really have nobody to talk to. And you don't have that TLC, that tender loving care. You know, you're not in love. You're in lust for sex. You know, you really don't have that go-to woman that you could really talk to, that you could really build with, that you could really plan a future with. You don't have that. You dig? It's like you don't have that consistency and you don't have that security of having somebody by your side, of having somebody who has your back day in and day out. You feel me? It's like when you're going through a rut, when you're going through your issues, when you're going through your trials and tribulations, you automatically know who you could speak with, who you could talk to, who could ease your pain, who could soothe your thoughts. You know, you have that heaven in your household. And it's like a relationship is like getting a check because you know you're going to get it, whereas being single is like a commission because you got to work for it. You working for that money just like you working for that nut. You working for that check just like you working for that fuck. You dig? It's like you only as good as your last nut. It's like you chasing it. You don't know where it's gonna come. You don't know when it's gonna come, but you know you're gonna get it. But you really gotta finagle your way into some draws. You know what I'm saying? You don't know when the next time you're gonna bust them cheeks. You really don't know the next time that you're gonna bust that nut besides your hands or your fingers if you're a woman. But from a male perspective, you know, it's crazy. You know, sometimes I miss, you know, going out on a meaningful date with my main squeeze, with my queen. Sometimes I miss the arguments, whether it's petty or not. Sometimes I miss it. Sometimes I miss, you know, knowing that I could come home and we're gonna cuddle. We're gonna watch a movie together. Sometimes I miss that. Now, you could get that from a fuck buddy. You could get that from a relationship. Excuse me, a situationship. Yes, you could get all that from a situationship, but it's not the same. It's not, because you do not see yourself with this woman in the long haul. It's not the same. You dig? It's like the difference between eating meat and eating vegetarian meat. For you meat lovers, you're not gonna enjoy the vegetarian meat, the fake meat, as my meat lovers say it is. as opposed to, you eating animal food, animal meat, or whatever you want to call it, animal flesh, or whatever to call it. But you get the point. It's not the same. You feel me? It's like buying some bootleg shit off Canal Street in New York City as opposed to getting the real thing. It's not the same. A Chrysler 300 is not a fucking Bentley. You feel me? So I said all that to say, a relationship, you know what you're gonna get. You're more stable. You could build because your relationship should be your assets. It's not a liability. When you're single, a fuck buddy could be a liability because you getting headaches from a chick who doesn't even matter at the end of the day besides a good nut, besides a good fuck. You dig? You're not building with this woman. So it's like taking the car off the lot, and the more you drive it, the more it value decreases. And that's the same thing. You dig? A relationship is like a house. A relationship should be like a house because the more you in it, your bond with your man or with your woman should appreciate over time because you're building for something greater. Whereas when you just fucking around, it's like eating fast food. You eat it and shit it out. There's no meaning. There's no nourishment. You feel me? There's no nourishment coming from that. It's temporary. So, there are pros and cons because in relationships, don't get it fucked up. You really got to work at it. It's a lot of work. It could be a lot of headaches. But, you're going to go through your growing pains in order to reach to the mountaintop. You're really making yourself vulnerable when you're in a relationship because you're opening yourself up to your lover, to somebody that you're in love with. You're opening yourself to that person. You're making yourself vulnerable. You're trusting that person for the rest of your life. And you have to make sure that that person is mentally in the relationship, and not just because of a piece of paper, not because y'all walked down the aisle, and not because y'all said y'all vows, and not because y'all said I do. Y'all are both mentally eloped and mentally engaged with each other before y'all walk down the aisle with the corny ass wedding music or whatever the case, and a strange ass man that you probably don't even know who asks you or tells you I pronounce you husband and wife. You dig? But before you get to that point, you really have to know if your mate is with you for the long haul, because just because you're married doesn't mean anything. Doesn't mean that your mate is with you, because there's a lot of married people who are living single, real talk. But I said all that to say there are pros and cons when you're in a relationship or when you're single. When you're in a relationship, you're going to go through your ups and downs, and you got to weather the storm. You feel me? You got to weather the storm. And just like that job, just like that career that you may love and hate, you have to figure out if you want to be at that career, if you want to retire at that career. You dig? There's a difference between having a job and having a career, which goes back to this concept of this podcast. There's a difference between a relationship and a situationship. What do you mean now, son? Break it down. How can you compare the two? I don't get it. Look, family, working at a fast food spot, that should not be a career. That should be a job. That should be a stepping stone to something bigger, to something greater. You dig? Just like being in a situationship, it should grow into something greater. A job should be temporary, whereas a career should be permanent. The same thing as a situationship. A situationship should be temporary, while a relationship should be permanent. You turn your situationship into a relationship like you turn that job into a career. If you're going to work at that fast food spot, then strive to leave that damn building to go to the corporate office. Leave the store to go to the corporate office. That's how you make moves. That's how you move on up, like on some Jefferson type shit, on some George and Wheezy type shit. Go for the gusto. You dig? If you're working at UPS, You want to go from shipping boxes to going to the damn corporate office and chopping it up with the big wigs. And that's what a relationship is about. You feel me? So once again, you know, being in a relationship, it's like you know what you're getting. You could get fired. You could get laid off. The same like in a relationship. Your mate could fire you if you're not being consistent, if you're not doing your job as a mate. Your mate could fire you or lay you off because they want somebody else who is more productive. Or you could be a single and, you know, get in where you fit in. You're pretty much a scavenger, a vulture almost, because you're getting in where you fit in. You're using your mouthpiece, your charisma, your charm to get that next nut. You know what I'm saying? To get that one night stand. Because that commission is not going to last you for the whole month, or it's not going to hold you down for the long haul. You're only as good as your last commission, and you have to reach a quota to satisfy your pockets or to satisfy your company's goal, just like you have a quota to satisfy your sexual urges and desires. You dig? On that note, this has been another episode of Swingers After Dark, and this is your host, Not Son, baby. Check out my website at www.notsunblaze.com. That's www.nahsunblaze.com. And check out my ebook, You Me Us Them, The Swinger Manifesto. It's on Nook, Kindle, Google Play, iBooks. Go get it. And shoot me an email at swingerpodcast@gmail.com. That's swingerpodcast@gmail.com. And hit me up with any questions and or concerns that you may have. And we're gonna go out like this, man. So here we go. What? So here we go. Chicka chicka. So here we go. What? Yeah. And I'm out.